If my heart is really with sentient beings, by Master Zongdao. If my heart is really with sentient beings, what harm is done if I am misunderstood? Is proving my innocence more important than the anguished wailing of sentient beings from hell? If my heart is really with sentient beings, what's the harm if I am wronged? Is having my grievance removed more important than the jailer piercing the hearts of my loved ones? If my heart is really with sentient beings, what does it matter if I have to work extra hard? Do I want to just enjoy the relaxation and comfort of body and mind and ignore the fatigue of the multitude of sentient beings in samsara? If my heart is really with sentient beings, what is the harm if no one knows my credit or reputation? Is insincere fawning over me by others more important than the long list of karmic offenses in sentient beings' book of birth and death? If my heart is really with sentient beings, what's the harm in getting evil eyes and harsh words from others? Is my dignity more important than sentient beings getting skinned and boned alive? If my heart is really with sentient beings, is it a big deal to shed tears, sweat, and blood? Aren't my tears and sweat worth exchanging for the drying up of sentient beings' tears and sweat that fill the four seas? If my heart is really with sentient beings, is it not okay to let go of my point of view? Shouldn't my personal view make way for the liberation of the multitude of sentient beings? If my heart is really with sentient beings, what's the harm in being mediocre? Are you telling me that only doing great, difficult, and eye-catching things is for the benefit of sentient beings, but doing insignificant and inconspicuous things is not? If my heart is really with Amitabha, what's the harm in sacrificing myself? Are you saying that I should not offer this iniquitous and lowly life of mine to repay the debt I owe Amitabha Buddha for delivering me from samsara? If my heart is really with Amitabha, would a bit of groveling hurt? Have you forgotten that during the cycle of birth and death, Amitabha has prostrated himself with a pleading look, begging us to let him save us? If my heart is really with Amitabha, why not just grin and bear any adverse situation? Is it not true that, despite the countless heinous crimes I have committed since time immemorial, Amitabha Buddha has not, even for a moment, frowned? If my heart is really with Amitabha, what's the big deal of leaving behind my warm and cozy home? In the name of revolution for their nation, people could leave behind their families. Why can't I leave my home for the Buddha and the benefit of sentient beings? If my heart is really with Amitabha, isn't this heart actually with sentient beings? If my heart is actually with sentient beings, does it not mean that my rebirth to the human realm in this life is really to repay the debt of gratitude I owe Amitabha Buddha. Namo Ami Tofo.